If your heat siphon is running but not heating, here are a few things to consider. With a heat pump, the water temperature at the returns will only be 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the water at the skimmer. It can be hard for a 98.6 degree hand to feel that difference in 55 degree water. If you are just opening your pool, or your water temperature is significantly colder than your set point, allow 24 to 48 hours straight run time without stoppage. Check the air temperature coming off the top of the heat siphon in relation to the outside air. You can expect this air to be around 10 or 12 degrees colder than the outside air. If the exiting air is colder than the outside air, then the heat siphon is running and heating, but probably needs to run longer to heat up your pool. If the exiting air is the same temperature as the outside air, then service is needed. Service should focus on the compressor run capacitor, the wires from the contactor to the compressor plug, and the compressor itself. Alright, this is runs but not heating. Runs but not heating is a relative symptom. What's your definition of not heating? It could actually be running and heating fine, but there's some other issue why the pool's not coming up in temperature. So we're going to assume for this one there actually is a malfunction with the heater. And the most common, 90% of the time, the reason why it's running but not heating is the compressor's not running. The customer sees that the fan is spinning and assumes that the heater is running, but really the only thing running is the fan motor and not the compressor. And 9 times out of 10, it's the run capacitor has failed, and the run capacitor is what helps the compressor start. The fact that they're observing that it's running means that the fan is turning, which means that the compressor is engaged, which means that all of these other switches have said go. So that's why we look downstream of the 240 volt. So when they say running but not heating, they typically mean the fan is turning, but it's not heating, which means the compressor is not running. And when the compressor is not running, the most common reason is run cap, but it could also be the compressor itself has died, or the wires leading from the contactor to the compressor have become damaged. When the run capacitor goes bad, it most often will swell up, and that's a real clear visual indicator of why it will fail. We have 3 examples. It can be as minimal as just a slight dome in the cap and dome on the bottom, and you can tell by the way it doesn't sit flat, it rocks. Even though it looks fairly flat, it's not, and the swelling indicates that it's failed. This one's a little bit more extreme, where the dome and the dome and the cap is much more prevalent and becomes obvious as soon as you take the door off and look inside. This is an even more extreme case, and they can even rupture where the cap opens up.
Yep.
So if you discover that your run capacitor is swollen, dome cap or dome bottom are swollen on the sides, replace the run capacitor and try to run the heater again, see if the compressor kicks on.